Yo, what is going on? And welcome to another episode of the Urban Pitch Podcast, part of the Believe Network. I am Ramsey Abushala, editor of UrbanPitch.com. We are in a new space,
woo, woo.
The Football Boutique headquarters here, downtown Los Angeles. We have a couple special guests with us. But first, the co-executive directors of Vibes are here. Julio Montoroso, Bridget Flores. It's been a minute. Where have you guys been? Like, I feel like
we're here, and the past is the past. Moving forward, we're gonna show up, show out.
Yeah,
I was away from you guys, so it was beautiful.
Yeah, but now we're here in the flesh. It's great
and
to see y'all.
And in a new space.
Yeah, and in a new space.
And this is the first time we did this, and I'm not even gonna lie.
Yeah, right. First time we've ever had this conversation. Right. Not the second take. We
did not forget not to record. So we're good.
But I'm very glad that we are in this new space because we are here, Football Boutique, new headquarters with Mr. Football Boutique himself, Tony Magaña, and alongside him we have a fashion designer extraordinaire, Christian Ferretti. First off, Tony, congrats on the new space, man. This place is amazing.
You. I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys coming through. It's a dream come true.
Yeah. I mean, we've been with you from the beginning. It feels like, we went through a name change, different location changes. Back when we had the base, you were there doing pop-up events. I remember, trying to get that trailer into the space at, felt like 1 a.m.
Yes.
But now, you could put 3 trailers in here.
Right.
Like it feels
it's incredible. Thank you guys for having me back. Yeah, it's been a while since we did the last one, and a name change. We'll probably get into that, but I appreciate you guys having me again, and excited to talk about the new spot. So thank you guys.
Yeah, and we're gonna have, being in this space in a new spot, I feel like opens up where we're gonna have a very special episode where we're talking about fashion. We've had different pro players on. We've talked about music. We've talked about a lot of different topics on the show, and fashion has always been part of that. But we haven't had an episode solely dedicated to fashion, and
we had to go big, so we went to go get a legend. We had to go get a legend.
The drippiest of them all.
It's been in the works.
We ran into them in different events.
AC Milan, the AC Milan
AC Milan event. We go to the Surgeon events. He's always there. Christian Ferretti. Thanks so much for joining us, man.
Thank you guys for having me. Really appreciate that. I've been talking to Julio for a little bit, about coming here, and finally, I'm happy that we were able to do it. My background is in fashion, so I'm passionate also about football. So I'm ready to get the conversation going.
Yeah. Let's get your credentials out of the way. You worked with guests. You have your own label, Ferretti. The kits. Fantastic detail. You can see him in the background if you're watching on YouTube. You've done a lot of stuff with Dom at the shoe surgeon. Talk about your journey through fashion, where you started, how you got your inspiration, and where you've gotten to the point now, and where you see yourself in the future.
Yeah.
Today's episode is brought to you by Bet Online. The tournament is here. Bet Online is your bracket headquarters for this season with the best bracket contest out there, and odds, lines, and info on every game and every round right up until the national championship. You can access the most up-to-the-minute wagering information anytime from your desktop or mobile devices, and even track your bracket real-time all the way through the tournament. Head to Bet Online today to get in on all the action. Remember to use promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet Online, the game starts here.
For sure. I'm from Ecuador, South America, from Guayaquil, Ecuador. I came here when I was 18, and always my dream was to, get a journey with fashion, right? Starting in the fashion industry, since I was little, since I could remember, but I always had a passion also as well for football. So I wanted to mix both of those things. So first I got myself through school and went to the Art Institute, and then after I graduated, a friend of ours passed our resume to Guess, and then I was able to get the job at Guess, starting from the bottom as an assistant designer all the way up to director. So that was about 10, 11 years of my life, which was a great experience. But, I also wanted more, right? I wanted to see what was also outside of corporate, what else can be done outside of corporate. So I decided to venture myself, meeting Tony and, having that conversations with him about fashion and football. We released some Ferretti jerseys as well as some off-white reworked jerseys that have worked very well. And now we have I'm working with Yuri Moreira on Culture by Football, which is an agency that we're working with pro teams and with Culture by with Moali FC, working forward in reaching different clubs and working on repurposing their all their all apparel that they're not using anymore. So trying to work on new ideas with big teams and push the envelope forward, I guess.
Yeah, he's being humble. He's a whole legend out here. He's a whole legend out here, especially coming from South America and now like going to the part where you're at. Seeing you in every, like I said, we've seen you in different events. How do you see this soccer space moving?
I mean, I love the next 2 years at least. They're going to be extremely interesting for all of us, right? Like, I think this is the moment. Is our moment for anyone that wants to express football and fashion in the same space. This is our moment here in the United States, right? Like, we have Copa America, we have World Cup, we have the clubs international game coming every summer. Like, keeps getting bigger and bigger. Obviously, with the women's league now is games are sold out. So all the signs are there. So we just need to continue to apply it and push the envelope with, whether it's vintage that we're trying to repurpose, whether it's bringing out new ideas, right? And all of those, all of those ideas, all of those things that we think about is this is the time for us to put it forward.
Yeah, and the soccer jersey, I feel like, is a really interesting canvas for people to work on. And I think over the years we've seen crazy designs be applied to soccer jerseys that have maybe taken inspiration from other fashion pieces, but now you see a lot of high fashion houses. I feel like everyone has their own kit, whether it's Balenciaga, Louis Vuitton,
Off-White.
You see every one of these labels on their runways at different fashion weeks debuting their own soccer jerseys. Some work, some don't, but it's not about whether it works, it's the fact that it's still there. And so what do you think, what is it about the football jersey that makes it so appealing to fashion designers?
Yeah, well, I think, there's something about the hero, right? Whether the hero is Zidane or Ronaldo or Ronaldinho, right? There's something about storytelling within that, right? So then we see fashion designers like Kid Super, telling a story about Ronaldinho was my hero and we all knew him when, he didn't meet Ronaldinho, right? And then officially he met him and now he has a collaboration with him, right? So the storytelling with that. Now Zidane very involved with Y3, right?
Yes.
Especially dropping going to the shows, dropping the new Predators that are coming out. You see all this on top of that with the blow core, right?
Yeah.
The blow core,
that's been
which
huge.
is all about the kids, whereas New York or LA, you see a lot of the kids wearing the vintage soccer jerseys, girls with their big pants, or whether it's the skirt, right? Like guys, with their big, big, I don't know, Janko kind of baggy pants and Tims and things different, or George, right? It's a trend that it was really strong last year and it's becoming stronger, I think, for this summer, right? So I think for Tony, it's a great spot for him to be here, and because Tony's really good at curating, kits and stuff, right? So, he's gonna kill it this week.
Yeah, have you seen your sales increase with the Blowcore kind of becoming much more popular?
Yeah, definitely. I think the jersey is a great way for people to express themselves. I mean, you can say so much with just a jersey, right? You don't even need to say anything, but if someone walks in with a 1997 Roma jersey, okay, this guy, he knows. He knows. He loves the team. He loves the icons. It's easy to express yourself with a single jersey, and I think that's what's great about
or you just saw Kim Kardashian wearing it.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Possibly.
when
Possibly.
it's Kim Kardashian is wearing them. Like it
Yeah.
tells you something about fashion and football jerseys and being implemented together. It's pretty cool.
Because the soccer jersey was back in the days. It was basically reserved for the kids of immigrants, people from other countries like that were not born here, because it was not the cool thing to wear. It was the immigrant. It was the immigrant uniform, in a sense, just for the simple reason that if you wore a Real Madrid jersey, nobody was really looking to Real Madrid. Now everybody knows who Jude is. Now everybody knows who Vinicius is. Like it shows how much the sport has grown. And like you said, Ferretti, these next 2 years is going to be really important, not only to our pod, but to everybody in that space. No, what I'm saying, like any soccer pod or it's going to be important for all of us. And it's crazy that we're jumping on that early.
And I think we're talking a lot about like the intersectionality between like football culture and just everything, right? Music, art, specifically fashion today. For any of our audience who enjoys our podcast, loves soccer, loves football, and also has like a creative outlook for fashion, what would you say would be like, if they're looking to create that in the next couple of years, knowing that it's going to be an increase because we have so much football coming to the US, like what would be your like top 3 like tips or like insight behind like your creativity to designing?
Yeah. Well, I think, first, obviously, like you got to look within yourself. What's your story, right? Like, because fashion is about storytelling, right? It's about telling, what's had happened in your life that you can actually share it and that can bring value to others, right? So I think if you're able to figure out like what's your essence, right? Who you are, like whether you're from, El Salvador or Mexico or whatever the situation is, but if you're able to communicate your art through that will be probably the first place where I start, right? Then secondly, I will try to learn the history, of what you're doing, right? To pay the respects to others that have come before you. And, look into, the legends also, materials as well. It's very extremely important, right? Because for people like us that we've been in this space for a while, right? We continue to see emerging designers come up, but they fade away really quickly, or it just becomes really repetitive. So finding your own voice, getting to know the materials that are actually go on, whether it's polyester, whether you want the moisture wicking, whether you want different details that gonna separate you from somebody else, I think is important. And third, connecting with the community that is happening at the moment, right? Like our community, I feel like it's growing, right? Whether it's an LAFC, LA Galaxy, just like different podcasts, different people that are really interested in not only the game but expressing themselves creatively, right? So connect yourself with that kind of community, and if there's events, Tony has some great events coming up, so connect with them, connect with different people in the area, or in your area, and then start keeping the conversation and find your own angle.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I feel like knowing that we have so much soccer, football coming to the US, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to try to like take advantage of that, benefit off of that. Yeah. But I feel like the biggest thing that you said that has to really resonate is the storytelling. Like if you have no connection to the passion or the just the experience of having soccer in your life, like that's going to be really hard to try to like benefit off of. And I think you two, both of you, have that and are already showcasing that. So great examples of what will come in the years to come, but also great like foundation for anyone who's looking to go into it.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, and like Julio was saying, like it used to be just for the tios or the to wear like their soccer jersey tucked in with the jeans and
and
like
working boots.
So, but now with Blowcore it's a whole new experience, right? And like you were mentioning, fashion houses, Louis Vuitton, Balenciaga, Martin Rose. We can keep going on and on, right? But everybody's going to have their own version of a fashion jersey, right? But find your own voice, your own detail. It could just be one detail, right, that separates you from anyone else.
Before we dive deep into fashion, when did you guys, both of you, when did you guys fall in love with the game? What was the earliest memory of playing soccer growing up? Highest level you guys played? When was that love for soccer putting you guys?
I mean, I've been
I
talking.
can start. Yeah, I mean, I grew up playing here in the States, Orange County. I think relatively later. I think I started playing around 11. And yeah, man, I fell in love with it almost immediately. It came natural to me. I played the first season of like recreational soccer, and then like made the all-star team, and then was recruited by club, when club meant a little more.
What club did you play for?
I played for, the first club I played for was Anaheim Express. I think they're still around. And then bounced around Fullerton Rangers. I think they're still around. So yeah, I went into club almost immediately. And it was a little bit late because it runs in the family. I just wasn't introduced to it. Like, my parents were kind of just like letting me do my own thing. I tried baseball first, and that like went nowhere. But yeah, as soon as I started playing soccer, it just took off. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, for me, my earliest memory was in Ecuador, right? Like, there's a team called Barcelona, same as Barcelona from Spain.
Chiqui Palacios came from that, played for LAFC.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, and so my earliest memories was going to the stadium, and it was rowdy in the 90s, right? Like, you will sit down and then people just like throw all kinds of things, like it was just, the football that you live in South America, it's very passionate, right? So then, you see like all this, fights and things, and if you're wearing the wrong color, like they'll beat you up. It's just, so I grew up with that extremely passionate football, right? So that was my first memory. And then, you had to play, right? And well, you didn't have to, but it was one of my goals to play, right? And since my earliest memory, I was with a soccer ball. So coming to the U.S., it was a little tough not seeing the same culture, but it's exciting seeing now things like LAFC, where you can get a little bit of that South American flavor, in Los Angeles. Yeah. So yeah.
When you were playing soccer growing up, or like even a part of like the stadiums or the atmosphere, did you also instinctively know that designing and fashion was something you were passionate about?
Yeah, of course. I mean, like the jerseys for me was when they were dropping jerseys, and before it was every 2 years. Right. Yeah, now it's like that they do like 10 different jerseys
in 1 year.
Yeah. So I was always about learning about how the jersey was, like what was the where did they want to take the design to, right? And what was the goal of the design? So it was always really interesting to me, like how they made the jerseys, right? And before it was it was not as monetized as it is now, right? Like before that, even like South America, at least like in Ecuador, we'd even have sponsors, so they would just make the jerseys. Coca-Cola, I think it was a sponsor, right? Like, not even like any of the big brands. Yeah. So it was, it was really interesting to, I always had that passion for that since an early age. Yeah.
What's your take on, because I think there's a big push now. You see so much jersey releases. It feels like there's nonstop, especially with the calendar, how it goes with like now you're seeing a lot of the North American teams release their jerseys. And then in the summer, you'll see all the European teams release their jerseys. It's like, it's hard to catch up. And then if one team has a specific, like really memorable jersey, it almost gets forgotten with just like the churn of everything. Whereas before it felt like, Arsenal wore a jersey for 2 or 3 seasons, and you remember that jersey because not only does it give more, has the team wear it for longer, but maybe they have a really good season one year and you remember, this is the year they won the FA Cup or whatever, Now it's like every team gets a new jersey every single year. There's 4, 5, 6 different jerseys per team, which I get it from a financial perspective. Teams are trying to like, fans are going to buy jerseys no matter what. If you release a new jersey, they're going to buy it. But from a design,
the Adidas jersey now going to Nike, like,
right? Yeah, and so now
crazy.
like, but from a design perspective, it makes it harder for the design teams to come up with something creative if they have to do one every single year. So what's your take on maybe rolling it back to where it was every other year, where you might not get a new jersey every year, but maybe you'll get more quality over the quantity?
I mean, I agree with you. I mean, I think, the standardization of the jerseys have become a little bit boring in a sense, right? Like you look at the U.S. jersey. I mean, with Tony, we can get into that. Like with Tony, like last year we reworked some USA jerseys because just the fact that it's just a plain blank, white shirt. White shirt, right? I mean, even the crest looks different, right, from what it used to be, the U.S. soccer crest. So it's something is happening even within the space that just like the same template used everywhere. Right, we see it on England or Brazil, right? Like the Brazilians are for what I've read in the comments, they're extremely upset about the new jersey. They don't like the color. They think that like it's one of the worst jerseys I've seen. So I think the lack of creativity comes because they just have to turn to work.
Right.
They just have to turn work. So, they have the Copa America coming up, right? So they have to turn work for that. Then they have the eliminatorias, the qualifiers. They have to turn work for that. And now like the World Cup, and then all of a sudden you have to do like an original shirt or something similar. So it's a lot of work for them. So then it loses a lot of creativity, and then it becomes just shirts for the masses, and they try to appeal to different people, but they're losing a lot of them at the same time.
And then they'll come up with some half-baked storytelling element where they have to explain like this represents this and this and when from fans, like you can tell when they're just kind of winging it and they're just kind of doing it just to do it, whether or compared to like, this actually has meaning behind it. You can tell they resonated. They talk to people, fans or whoever. Like this is made with this specific vision in mind. You can definitely tell. Like I think with Nike in Nigeria, they have a connection there that's working. Like where every single one that they come out with, whether you like it or not, it's different. It's original. There's a meaning behind it. And then when it comes to the U.S., the last few U.S. jerseys just haven't really been
struggling.
Even for the guys on the guy side, because we talked about in the last Women's World Cup, their jerseys when they had their
it was better, but the bar was so low that anything
felt
it felt way better than because it feels like one template comes out and then everybody from whatever brand they're using is that template for the rest of the tournament or whatever season they're playing.
But that like is in our hands, right? As fans, like if you buy into this 6 jersey releases a year, like you're feeding into that beast. If you guys, if we as fans cut back on our consumption, like those brands are going to recognize it, and then scale back because if you're releasing 6 jerseys and they're all being bought up, they're going to keep churning them out. But if we scale back, I think they're going to think twice about releasing so many jerseys and maybe taking more time to really come up with something special.
But at the same time, it's like fans are so diehard when they see the new jersey, whether they like it or not. It's just like, I got to get the new one. I spoke to someone at the Galaxy game, I spoke to a Galaxy fan in line. I forget where I was, but it was right before the MLS season started and the new Galaxy kit came out. And I was talking to him, he's wearing the Galaxy jersey. So I was like, hey man, what do you think about the new jersey? He goes, it's all right. But I'm going to get it. I get it every year. And so it's like, it's hard to tell a fan how to be a fan and, don't be passionate and but like, at the same time, it's like, man, like if you don't like the jersey, why are you buying it? So I don't know. It's a push and pull.
I that's where I'm coming from. I know people, like you said, like will buy it no matter what. But then you get the kind of products that we're getting. The U.S. jersey is missed. It's missed a couple of seasons now. I think we all want to see the Waldo kit come back.
Or the Bomb Pop or something man. Something with color.
Something, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully, I mean, with the World Cup coming up, I think they got
to do something.
I hope they do something.
Everything since that Waldo kit has not been good.
I mean, I actually liked the one. It was like right at the 2020. It came out. It was still plain, but it was a white shirt, but they had the Nike sportswear logo on it with the Nike text with the swoosh under it, and I thought that added a little bit to it.
The branding.
Yeah, but it's like that. If I'm like looking for like little
Right.
things to like, it's like I'm
Then you're
grasping
doing
at
too much as a
straws.
fan.
Yeah. So, who knows? Maybe we need to switch it up. Maybe
Bring
we
the
need
total
to switch
90s
back. Switch back to
Yeah.
Adidas. Like Julio, you mentioned Germany going to Nike. Like everything's
crazy.
backwards now. So maybe we'll switch. Like I don't know if that's gonna happen, but
Yeah.
I'm interested. I'm interested to see what Nike does with Germany.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Would you guys accept like a U.S. Adidas jersey?
I don't care, man. like,
No?
like as long as they
honestly,
do well.
Nike has
1990?
missed for the last few years, so I'm okay with it. But then again, like just looking at the MLS jerseys this year is gotten better, but Adidas has missed with a lot of jerseys as well.
Adidas, I think, has done a better job than Nike, though,
Yeah.
with recent jersey designs.
Yeah.
And Nike doesn't have the connection to U.S. soccer that Germany and Adidas did. Like, I feel like Germany and Adidas, like, that's, like, institution.
Yeah,
like, that's,
it
like,
makes sense.
always been a thing.
Honestly, a sleeper is Umbro, like their jerseys from like in South America with Brazilian teams,
Yeah.
El Salvador.
Yeah.
Like it has a lot. I don't think they've missed. Even they had a third division team that they did a jersey release for them, and that jersey sold out in like hours.
Yeah, Umbro.
So Umbro's been killing it with the
But
jerseys.
I think we're going back to what Tony's talking about. Like I think that there's a lot of power within the community, and we know that for so many reasons. But I think that's why Adidas within MLS is doing so well, because I think that these last couple years they've taken in the feedback they've heard, and they've tried to revamp, and they've tried to implement different ideas. Like we've seen, like for example, like the Colorado Rapids last year, where they brought in an artist from Colorado to help design the jersey. Like I think little things like that, the storytelling, the connection to the community, the connection to the team, makes such a difference. And like if you don't amplify that, you don't emphasize that, then it's not going to work. And it goes back to what you said as a designer, right? Like what's the story behind it?
Yeah, for
Because
sure.
they missed a few years ago when it was like the same template for every team.
It was like 2018, it was
Yeah.
2018, 2019, 2020. Everything was very heavily templated.
Yeah.
And then I think because they're on like a 3-year plan, so they're already going 3 years in ahead.
Yeah.
And they heard the criticism because starting 2021 and 2022, it seemed less templated, and then when they did do a template, like they kind of switched things up a little bit. So they've I feel like Adidas has turned things around in the soccer space, which makes it crazy that, like they lost their biggest, like, it's like 70 plus year partner in the German.
It's like a German driving a Honda or a Ford. Like a Mercedes.
Not going to be the same.
Yeah, bro, that might be next. Like Ford might be the official car of like the German national team.
But what about some stuff outside of soccer? Because you mentioned the Jinko jeans. That's made a huge comeback. I see it, like kids wearing it.
Honestly,
and
like with their middle school uniform, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's wild. And so what are your thoughts on like certain trends making like a comeback now? Because like early 2000s fashion isn't necessarily looked back on with a lot of reverence. Like the low-rise jeans.
Right.
Like there's a lot of like pictures of celebrities from that era that are just like, yo, what were we doing?
Business casual.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So what is your thoughts on, now that it's like a 20-year, 30-year cycle, everything, starts to come back. What are your thoughts on, early like aughts?
Well, I think Y2K, right?
Yeah,
like
Y2K,
which is the trend. I mean, I found it that like, obviously we're a lot younger, but I think, it was a way to kind of like visualize the future, what the future will look like, and back in the 2000s, right? And what we wanted to express in that moment, right? And the different things, movies that you can relate to that moment in time, right? But I think this generation, the new generation, is trying to find their own voice, and I think not everybody's, and they're trying to separate themselves, right? Like they're like, oh, well, I know like somebody older would not wear these ginormous pants, right? Or I know like they wouldn't wear this crop top or, different things, right? So they're trying to like separate themselves for what, from their moms or their uncles.
Yeah.
But I think it's, I think it's great, but this is the same generation that is bringing us the blow cord, right? Like, and nobody else. Before we used to be like ashamed of walking out with a soccer jersey, right? Like, we had to like have our own drip, like, instead of, just be proud of where we came from. So I think it opens up a lot of different doors, and I don't mind that every generation expresses themselves in how they're doing. I mean, I don't think it fits for everyone, right? But I mean, obviously, like, I'm a little slimmer on the pants, right? Like, but when I'm feeling a little more casual, I wear a little baggier. But I don't see a problem.
Yeah, it's true. I think this generation is not afraid to do whatever they want, and like they're very vocal about it.
Yeah.
And they don't let anyone question what they do. And if you do, then it's like, well, it's mine, not yours. Like, why do you care? And it's a good thing because they get to express themselves. They get to just explore all types of alternatives or options. For you as a designer, do you try to like work off of trends that are in the now? Is that something that helps you with your work?
Well, you always have to have that information with you, right? Like, it's always part of my work to always be up to date with the trends and with everything that's happening in the market, right? Whether, I do it like from high to low, from, the fashion shows, right, to the what's going on out in in the stores. Now we have Instagram and TikTok, right, and see what the influencers or people on the street are wearing, right? It's important to open yourself to different just to different ideas, different markets, right? But what was your question?
Like if you work off of, like if you use the trends to like create and get creative and things like that. Yeah,
absolutely, 100%. And then I used, different, places like WGSN, which is a trend forecaster, website. I use different tools, right, that helps you know what's going to happen in 2 years from now or in a year from now, right? And, but in the end, like, I think the strongest trend always comes from the youth. Whether it was in the 90s, it was all about the grunge, right? All that came from the youth, and then it was adopted by Marc Jacobs and by different designers, and now grunge we see it everywhere, right? So it's just it's just about always the youth trying to make a new statement.
And then there's like so much connectivity in fashion. I don't know if you've seen The Devil Wears Prada, but there's one scene where Anne Hathaway is talking to Meryl Streep, and she said something about like, I just don't care about fashion. Fashion's not important, or something to that extent. And Meryl Streep goes, you're wearing that blue Jack cardigan or whatever it is. I'm butchering this. Apologies to Meryl Streep, but she goes, that color was picked out for you. This designer used it in this show, and then this designer used it here, and that designer used it there, and then it worked its way all the way down to the bargain bin that you bought. So everything that, whether you like it or not, that color was picked out for you. So I feel like there's so much connectivity like that goes on behind the scenes that consumers might not know about, even someone that is interested in fashion. Because you were a director of menswear at Guess, so did you see things like that were going on that people might not have any idea about, that when it comes to creating certain cuts or colors or using certain materials?
Yeah, I mean, what you're describing really is like this hill, right? That it starts with like early adopters, fashion designers, right. And then it goes to the masses, and then it goes to the lay people that like catch it later, and then it goes out to like, even discounted stores. So I think that's what in the movie she was breaking down, right? So I think, it's just, I don't know. It's important. I don't know, like in the end, if I'm answering your question in that sense. It's just, just knowing the trends, understanding it, and then, just seeing in this space, like, that art, like in the end, what you walk with is the way you represent yourself, right? Like, it's how we perceive you, right? Like, because unfortunately, like, we don't know your personality yet. So if I see you soon, I'll be like, all right, like, this is what I know about you. That's my only information. So the way you present yourself is how people would know.
What's like an instant red flag?
So how Ramsey's dressed? What do you think about it right now?
We're not gonna get into Ramsey's.
He said pass. But what's like a red flag? You see someone like, that guy doesn't know what he's doing.
No, I mean, like people be talking a lot about, skinny jeans for people, like, don't wear skinny jeans, jeans, right? Like, which is fine, and it works for some people, but I'm not gonna wear big leather pants. I'm gonna wear a little more fitted when it comes to my leather pants. But I think there's no need for putting someone else down for what you like, right? I mean, fashion is for everybody, and expressing yourself is for everyone, right?
Do you have like your ideal go-to do's or don'ts for fashion?
Yeah, I do actually.
Yeah.
Well, my do's are like always get 3-piece, right? Like, so always have your pants, your top, and something to go over it, right? Because that completes more your look, right? And then, that's how I started, or always visualize, where you want to start. You want to start at the top and then work yourself, like with the outerwear, and then work yourself like the whole thing, right? Or you want to focus on your shoes and make your shoes the main focus point of what you're wearing, right? So that's all those things about styling as well, with proportions. I think people sometimes don't take the time to understand it, and that would be my don't, right? Because they don't take the time. They'll just be like, oh, this is fine. They don't mind spending like, $200,000 in a car, but they mind spending $100 on a tee, right? It's just because, or spending money in other things, right? But also the way you should invest in the way you present yourself, right? Because I think that tells a lot of your story as well, right? And my don'ts is the carelessness of, oh, it's just a tee, oh, it's just a pant, right? Like, it really is. You're an art piece walking, right? Like, you want to express that, whether if you love football, like, I can see Tony and be like, this is a fashion forward football guy, right? Because I know he has the Predators on, and he's got the Beckham tee that he made, right? Like, that is pretty fire. So then,
you can come get at the football boutique.
You can get at the football boutique. So that's a plug. So then, you can understand, or you can say a lot without saying anything, just in the way that you present yourself.
Yeah, that's true. Heard that, Julio?
No. It's just a tee.
Julio was thinking about the next question he was going to ask the whole time.
Like, my hair too tight.
I hope I'm not boring you guys.
No.
Honestly, I had more questions, but I'm going to reserve myself. Because I was going to ask, like, what about the color contrast? What about the color combinations? Like, spring is here. What do you recommend?
Bridget will go on.
Why not?
Yeah, I mean, that's very important, actually. Like, colors are extremely important.
Yes.
It's extremely important. I mean, usually we tend to go like wearing black, right? But like the spring is coming, right? Like, festival season is coming. You want to make sure you want to pop in your pinks, your light blues, your teals, your dusty colors, right? So, it's not only about just like wearing whatever I have in my room, right? But it's obviously like, getting in touch with the seasons and how things work, right? Because all of a sudden you don't want to be caught up in summer with something that doesn't make any sense, right? So it's important that, like, seasons are very important. It's important that you learn the Pantone color of the year. It's important that you just go into the Pantone Pantone website and start learning colors that actually even work with your skin, right?
I'm about to go to Google right now.
It's just important, like, like we know, like the wine colors and the rusty orange and the forest green, those are all like winter colors, right? So it's important, it's important to touch on that for winter colors. Even for soccer jerseys, like, I can tell a lot of what's coming by the soccer jerseys that are releasing, right? Like, you see a lot of the new Germany jersey, right? Like, it's a pink fading into a purple, right? Like, you will see this summer a lot of ombre effect happening in different, not only jerseys, but also regular T-shirts and hoodies and things like that. Yeah.
That's interesting. Yes. I'm so hooked.
I'm like, asking more questions.
I'm like, what about like trying to stay away from like matching because it's the same color, right? Like, for example, like, I mean, this is a different type of green than this, but like in my head, I want to wear the same green at my shoes. So like, how do you work off of that?
But why is that? Why you want to
just because it's like, it makes sense because it's the same color, but I don't want to be that way. I want to like switch it up, like how do you get into that? How do you get more creative with that?
I would be more interested to know, like, where did you learn that pattern?
older brother.
Mom. My mom probably, because my mom would put like a pink bucket hat, pink shirt, pink overalls, pink shoes, pink socks, like all pink.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's for me, it's always important to have a pop color, whatever whatever it is that you're trying to in the story, right? Like for instance, Tony wearing all black pop shoes, right? So it brings your attention to like a pop shoe, like so. Whether it's that, whether it's I don't know, like it could be like a scarf, or it could be your top could be a color, right? And then the rest could be black. I mean, it's just about bringing little pops of life to your outfit, right? I mean, and I think if you get really into color, then you can get really experimental with different things, right? You have your tan with the green, but your shirt is like an acid wash, right?
Yeah.
So then it kind of goes together, right? So then you start learning about all those things, and then you can get really creative with it. I guess that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Tony, like, which jersey that you recommend pops out here
that you
three jerseys that you have here that pop?
He's like that I can have.
Then no, that we can sell to the people. By people, I mean me.
Yeah.
I mean that off-white. That Camavinga just wore. That one.
The goalie jersey.
That one is definitely up there. We have it up there. And then I would say
the Ferretti jerseys.
The Ferretti jerseys, man, those go hard.
Can't go wrong
So
with
hard.
Ferretti jersey.
He must say that.
What
right behind us.
I was gonna get
$20 back to right?
No, I mean those we upcycled some old vintage Puma jerseys, and I think they came out incredible. And then we had a more modern take on that far right one, that black one.
Yeah.
No, definitely those move. They've done well. We
this
collaborated on those.
Trap, right?
Yeah.
Because it was the first one sold out.
Yeah. So definitely the Ferretti jerseys. And then we got some vintage ones in there. I mean, I would say I have a yellow winter one. That one is incredible.
We'll link these.
Yeah, and I also saw Manchester United one with the strings like
the Cantona,
the
Cantona.
Yeah, that was so sick.
Yeah, we have some bangers. So pull up to the football boutique
come
in downtown LA.
Hit the website. If you're not local, online, like they have the whole inventory on there too. So I think when you're sourcing these jerseys, like what besides the price, obviously, but what are you looking for when you're looking to pick up new pieces?
That's a good question. It's a few different things. The first is just uniqueness, right? Like something that no other store has. I mean, we've seen them pop up now. There's just a ton of just like vintage soccer shops online, and so the first thing in my mind is, have I seen this anywhere else? And then if the answer is no, then I have to bring it in here, because the more we get, like, it just, the market becomes saturated. Then you've seen that Beckham jersey over and over and over again, so maybe I'll go for the Paul Scholes one or something, so definitely something that no one else has.
Do you ever like venture off to go like to different small boutiques, either in the US or even outside, or any other place, to look for like shirts or jerseys?
Definitely. Between like the resellers, there's like a community. So we try to connect. I work with a few different people in the States and outside. I've picked up some really cool pieces from some shops in the Netherlands, some shops here up north in San Francisco. So I think there's always an opportunity to find pieces with other people in the community.
We are running low on time, but before we wrap things up, we always close things out with some music artists that we're listening to, because this is a fashion episode, but we still got to incorporate music somehow. What are some artists that you're listening to right now? Anything new that's popped up in your radar, or is it throwbacks only? Like what's your guys' vibes lately?
You want to go first?
I mean, right now, I think the buzz is on that new Kendrick verse on that feature track. Like, I mean, he went hard at Drake. I mean, that's what I've been playing in the shop. But
I mean, for me, I just go back to old school Latin music. Honestly, like it's just I've been listening a lot to Maná lately, and just going back into just that '90s era.
Yeah.
Soda Stereo and all of those type of music. But I mean, new music, nothing really. Like I haven't heard any good reggaeton songs lately, so
well, you can
You
team
can
up with
get
Bridget. Bridget will put you on.
Posted her whole album last time on Instagram.
Yeah, I was waiting for that album to drop.
I know. I'm listening to Los Angeles Azules right now for like the last week.
You can never go wrong with the old school
songs.
yeah, especially the Latino ones. Like when I was growing up, my mom would always play the Latino music cleaning, and my dad with his Vicente Fernandez, and I'd be so annoyed. But then now I'm like, I kind of like appreciate it. Like it comes back to your senses, and you realize like that is good music.
Gilberto Santa Rosa, Los Angeles Azules.
Gilberto Santa Rosa.
That it was on so early on.
Yeah, like 7 in the morning is not that necessary. Like we don't gotta be blasting Vicente Fernandez.
But that was their party, right?
Right.
That was their party.
Exactly, because they had us.
Yeah.
Now I'm out here, so I guess I have more liberty than them. Is fair to say.
For sure.
No, but Christian, Tony, thank you guys so much. This has been a great conversation, and I think incorporating more fashion and really realizing the importance of like you said, the work that goes into it's not just a piece of clothing. It's more than that, and not dismissing it, and actually taking the time to
think about it.
Think about what went into this piece, and what that maybe put a little bit more effort into what you're wearing or things like that is something that's a lot of people don't take stock in, but it's something that is important. But thank you guys so much. Before we go, is there one thing you want to plug or anything that you're working on that you want to give a quick shout out to?
Well, I'm always here with Tony. We're always working in collaboration. So my Instagram is Ferretti_designer. Ferretti FERRETTI _designer, and we're always collaborating with Tony on new heat and new partnerships, right?
Yeah, drop the fit info. What are you wearing right now?
I mean, this is just Western, man.
He's got it on, man.
This is all Louis Vuitton inspired
Oh,
Western.
Right, okay.
Making it work.
Yeah, it's nothing out of the ordinary. But you can cop the jerseys.
The
jerseys.
jerseys. The jerseys. That's the important stuff.
You can do some work here.
Yeah, so I can buy more of it.
Right.
Buy more jerseys so I can get more leather pants.
Hey, this look ain't cheap.
Fund the Ferretti fits.
I mean, just visit us at the Football Boutique.
Pull
we're
up.
here in downtown LA, on Pico Boulevard in the Fashion District. The footballboutique.la for all of our events. So we've got watch parties, FIFA tournaments, all kinds of events.
Pick
coming.
up.
So pick up. I mean, you guys see the space. I think there's a lot of potential for all kinds of things. Just drop in. We're here Tuesday through Sunday till about 6 p.m. every night. So come through.
Yeah, this is just a small taste of what the space is like.
Yeah.
There's more space in the back. There's an outside area. So this is the spot, man. And thank you so much for allowing us to be here. It's awesome that we were able to record here. For the Urban Bridge podcast, this has been another great episode. Stay tuned. We got more stuff coming. I'm Ramsey Abushala for Julio Monterosa, Bridget Flores, Christian Ferretti, Tony Magaña. Keep it tapped in. This has been the Urban Bridge podcast, The Beautiful Game of Life. We'll see y'all next week.
Bye.